That's my default, which is the way I start class. Austin's teaching tonight, but before we get there, I want to thank you so much for your support on Patreon. We have 92 patrons, which means we're only 8 to go to get to 100 by tomorrow, which was our goal. A reminder that everybody that signs up on Patreon and every friend that you refer gets you an entry into our raffle for free stuff. It's like worth $100 worth of stuff. So if you have not yet signed up on Patreon, feel free to go over to patreon.com/commonbond. And if you have, thank you again. Tell your friends about it. In the meantime, thanks to the Washburne Cafe, we decided to switch it up tonight and have a beautiful class out front just for fun. Also, we don't get a lot of daylight in the back, so it's kind of nice to see the sunshine. Feel a little like Quasimodo right now.
Yes. It's hunched over.
Without further ado.
Hi everyone at home, Austin here, like Benjamin said. Today's class is going to be, this class is already slow, but it's going to be a lot slower today. So it's going to be really dropping in more into your body and breath a little bit more than usual. Throughout your practice, your mind might take over a lot more because we won't be moving around as much. And just notice that, and I'll help bring cues in throughout just to help bring you back to your breath and your body throughout. For this class, you might want to block. We're not going to be doing a lot of getting up or any really intense postures, so you might not need any props at all, but if they're helpful, you could grab a pillow, a blanket, anything that you might want for your practice to make it a little bit more accessible, more comfortable, relaxing for you. And we'll go ahead and get started laying down on our backs today. Laying out in all directions. All the palms to fall out. Palms can face up or face down, doesn't really matter. Allow your feet to fall to the side. All the eyes closed. Maybe walk the shoulders a little bit underneath you, a little bit closer together underneath you. Once again, beginning that process of tuning into the body. Just do a general check-in in your practice, wherever you're at in your day. How does your body feel in this moment? Any parts of the body that are particularly tight? Where you notice a little bit more tension? Whether there's a lot in the back from sitting around all day, working at computers, screen time that we've been getting a little bit more of lately. Also take a moment to just notice what's going on around you. Where you're at, if you're outside, inside, notice the sounds that are going on around you. Really trying to use every sense that you have available to you, whether notice if you can smell anything, hear anything, any lingering taste in the mouth, what you can hear, what you can feel underneath the body, those points of the body that are in contact with the ground, the mat. Maybe notice any differences in temperature, whether or not certain parts of the body are more cold than others. Start to tune in a little bit more with the breath as we bring one hand to the heart, the other hand to the belly. Not changing anything quite yet with the breath, just notice where it enters the body, where you breathe in. Sometimes it's more in the chest, sometimes it's more in the belly, sometimes it's somewhere right in between those two parts. But notice where you breathe, not changing anything. How deep is the breath? Are they short, quick breaths or large, deep ones? Notice that rise and fall motion as you breathe. And starting to build on that breath a little bit more. Taking a deep breath to fill up both the belly and the chest. Feel the hand lift up towards the ceiling an inch or more than that. And exhale, bring everything back in, that sink back into your mat as the body relaxes. Taking that again, take a deep breath in. Feel that expansion, that lift. And that exhale, that retreat back inward. Just take 5 more breaths just like that. Nice deep breaths, really just trying to fill up as much as you can. Allowing the body to relax with each exhale. One more round of breath here. And start to keep this breath moving through the body in and out, and start to bring in some movement, maybe wiggling the toes. Notice how that feels, if the toes are tingly a little bit after them relaxing for a bit of time. Wiggle the fingers. Just bringing some small movement in, maybe flexing the feet, pointing them. And start to reach the arms up and over on an inhale, pulling back through the fingertips and forward through the toes. Maybe you notice the lower back slightly coming off the mat. Take an exhale to curl the knees towards the belly, hug the arms around some point of the legs, the shins, knees, backs of the legs, wherever you can find onto. Just curl in, maybe rock side to side, massage the lower back. Start to set those soles of the feet onto the ground. Setting up for bridge pose, you can still just allow the eyes to stay relaxed. Release the forearms down to the mat, plant the palms, walk the feet about, hip distance apart. It's aligned with the outside of your hips. Maybe the backs of, you notice the backs of the fingertips are grazing the backs of the heels. Start to root the feet into the mat, maybe scrunch the toes, feel the texture of the ground underneath your feet. Before we start to move into bridge, trying to tuck the tailbone slightly, and notice how that brings the lower back a little bit closer down to the ground with that slight movement. If you create some extra room in the neck, sometimes when you press the lower back, the hips down and the lower back lifts up, our neck scrunches inward, and really just trying to bring the spine completely in contact with the mat by slightly tucking the hips underneath you. And then from that space, on your inhale, press into the heels, start to lift the hips up towards the ceiling. And exhale, slowly bring it down, hips still slightly tucked underneath you to bring that spine all the way down to the mat on one piece, fully in contact. Inhale, press back into the heels, lift the hips up. And exhale, lower. Just taking 2 more rounds, just like that with your breath. Inhale to rise. Lift the hips up as high as you want. Exhale to bring it to the mat. 1 more round. Maybe on this round you hold. Take a round of breath. Maybe your next inhale lifts the hips up even higher, pressing into the heels. Take another inhale. And exhale, lower the spine down to the mat. Pull the knees in towards the belly. Curl in. We rock side to side. Eventually, just roll all the way over to your right hand side. Still stay nice and curled up, maybe cradling the head in the arms. Eyes are still resting here. Just allow the body to feel heavy, gravity weighing you down into the mat. Just find some ease here. When you're ready, start to plant the hands into the ground. Once again, notice temperature, texture underneath the hand. Inhale, slowly start to push more and more weight into the hands to lift yourself up, fighting against gravity. Meeting in a seated position, cross the legs, eyes are still heavy. Finding some length through the body, resting the hands any point along the leg. Inhale the shoulders all the way up to the ears. Exhale to roll them down and back. Pull the shoulder blades together. The heart slightly puffs out. And exhale to release. Take an inhale. Exhale to drop right ear to right shoulder. Breathe into the neck. You can stay here. Another option is to extend the left arm out towards the side. Maybe you notice how that changes the stretch in the neck as you really reach those fingertips away from you. Maybe you change the stretch a little bit as you sway the arms back and forth. Notice how that changes the stretch in the neck. Maybe find a point that is particularly tight and just pause the arm there and breathe. One more round of breath on this side. Bring that left hand back in. Inhale, the head back up to center. Exhale, left ear, left shoulder. Stretch the opposite side of the neck, the right hand side. Again, you can extend that right arm out. Really reaching those fingertips away from you. Feel how that action changes the stretch in the neck, intensifies it, makes it easier. Again, you begin to move the arm back and forth, pendulum swinging the arm. Maybe find a point that needs a little bit more attention, a little bit more release. You pause and you breathe. One more breath. So to bring that hand back in. Inhale that hand back to center. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up towards the ceiling, palms touch. Exhale, draw the hands down through heart center. Inhale, sweep all the way back up. One more time. Palms meet. Maybe bring the gaze up towards the fingertips. Blink the eyes open. And exhale, draw the hands down. Starting to make your way to your tabletop position, either rolling over the shins or sweeping the legs to the side. Bring the hands to the top of your mat. Shoulders are stacked right above wrists. Untuck the toes, press the tops of the feet into the mat. Spread nice and wide through the fingertips. Press to the base of the knuckles so you find the hands completely rooted down into the mat. Squeeze the elbows in towards each other. Biceps will rotate forward. Gaze is just directly down at first. Starting to move through that cat-cow movement, connecting that breath and body movement. Inhale, drop the belly, bring the gaze forward for cow. Exhale, start to tuck the spine underneath you. Arch through the back, drop the head, find your cat. Really press the mat away as much as you can. Inhale, slowly drop it all the way back down. Drop the belly. Bring the gaze forward. Cow. And just take your time moving between these two postures. Exhale to curl everything in. No need to go fast here. Really just take your time. Feel that stretch and the shoulders and the spine in this posture, in this flow. Taking a couple of rounds at your own pace with your breath, warming up the spine, waking it up. Finish one more round here. Meeting tabletop. Take an inhale. Exhale, start to drop the hips all the way to heels. Lower the belly down, drop the forehead. Maybe bring it on contact with something, whether that is the block, the mat. Use an inhale to slowly start to walk the hands inch by inch away from you so you no longer can find any more space. Maybe you come up onto the fingertips. Take a couple of breaths into the shoulders here. Three rounds of breath. Keeping the arms nice and extended and dropping down to the palms. Inhale, start to roll forward into a modified plank pose. So bring the shoulders right above the wrists. Lift the shoulders, slightly lift the gaze, lift the heart. Lower belly is in here. Take an inhale. And exhale, curl it back towards your child's pose. We're just going to take that movement a couple more times. Inhale to roll forward, bring everything forward. Start to lift the shoulders when you come to the top. Shine the heart forward, lower belly in. And exhale, take it back. 2 more rounds. Go as fast or as slow as you want. Last one. Meet in child's pose. Take a wide-legged variation. Open up the knees. They're pointed towards the side of the mat. Chest and belly falls in between the thighs, forehead to mat. Coming into a more restorative posture with a twist included. So to walk that right arm forward a little bit, come onto the fingertips so the forearm lifts. Lift the forehead for a moment just so you can slide that left arm all the way over to the right. Walk it over as much as you can until the shoulder comes down to the mat. Then bring the side of the head onto the ground and drop the right forearm down, or you can keep it lifted and reaching forward. Close the eyes and just breathe here. Spending about 10 breaths here. In these moments where you pause a little bit longer, notice where the mind starts to take you. Don't try to do anything or change anything about your thought process. Just see what's going on for you. If there's happy thoughts that are coming to mind, mixed thoughts, difficult thoughts, just see, notice. Sometimes thoughts can be overwhelming, so you can focus more on the physicality side of things, more just focusing on that breath, moving the body here. The points in the body where you feel the stretch, shoulders, maybe lower back, side body. Some pressure underneath the knees in child's pose. One more round of breath here. slowly start to press into that right hand on the inhale. So you can lift the head up, lift the shoulder, and reach that left arm back towards the front of the mat. Just take a moment in normal child's pose, that wide-legged variation. And starting to switch to the next side. Walk the left arm forward until the forearm lifts. Press into the hand to lift the head up. To slide that right arm underneath the left, reaching over towards that side of the mat. Keep walking that hand forward. The shoulder comes down to the mat as much as it can. And then you can bring the side of the head to the mat. Maybe lower the left forearm or keep it reaching forward. Once again, moving into that state of observing, noticing, being accepting of any experience that comes up here. It's one thing that's super powerful about these slower practices is that sometimes when we in flows, power flows, we're more with the body, the breath. It's easy to forget what's going on in the internal world, but when we're asked to move a little bit slower, be a little bit more gentler to ourselves, to the body, our mind starts to go a little crazy because we're not doing anything. And during those times, this is really you can work on just being with your breath, being okay with that rapid stream of consciousness. It happens. Nothing wrong with it. It serves a purpose. But sometimes you pass judgment on things that aren't very helpful and just trying to be okay with whatever comes up in your experience on your mat and just through your daily life. Three more rounds of breath here. Next inhale, start to press back into that left hand to lift up, slide that right arm from underneath the left and reach it forward. Meet in child pose for breath. Inhale, slowly start to roll back up to your tabletop position. Start to tuck the toes underneath you. Find those nice wide fingers pressing down through the base of the knuckles, lower belly in. Take an inhale. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift the knees, and start to bring the hips up and back for down dog. Maybe nice deep bend in this down dog. Just kind of adjusting to this first one. Taking it a little bit more easy in this round. Still trying to press through the base of the knuckles, really rooting the palms into the mat. Still trying to roll the elbows towards each other, roll the biceps forward to find a little bit more room in between the ears and the shoulders. Bend as much as you like into the knees. Working on pressing the belly and the chest towards the back of the room, finding length through the spine. Maybe each exhale invites a little length into the backs of the legs, but there's no need to go there at all. And take 3 rounds of breath here. Inhale, slowly start to roll the torso forward, coming into plank, just for a round of breath. Exhale, lower the knees down to the mat, come back into tabletop. Start to tuck the toes back underneath you. Slowly walk the hands towards the knees, dropping the hips on top of the heels. Breathing through the backs of the feet, stretching the feet out a little bit more. Maybe just close the eyes. Inhale, roll the shoulders all the way up to the ears. Exhale, roll them down and back. Just do that 2 more times. Distract yourself from tension in the backs of the feet as we hold here. Pull the shoulder blades down and back when you lower them down. Breathe one more round into the toes, into the feet. Inhale, slowly start to come forward, come back into tabletop. Untuck the toes, tap the tops of the feet into the mat. Walk the hands, a handprint forward, come back into that modified plank. Lower belly in, shoulders nice and lifted, crown of the head reaching towards the tops of the room. Exhale, bend the elbows, lower chest and belly all the way down to the mat. Bring the arms beside you. You can plant the palms into the ground. Bring the left cheek onto the mat. Eyes can rest. When you're ready, start to reach that right arm all the way out towards the side. Bring that left hand right underneath the chest. Squeeze the elbow towards the rib cage. Maybe walk that right hand a little bit more out towards the side. Exhale, start to press into that left hand to start to roll your body over towards the right as you curl the knees in towards the belly. Maybe you rest the head on the mat or a block or a pillow. Breathing into the shoulder here. Once again, you can walk that right arm a little bit more out towards the side. You can even come up onto the fingertips. There's several options that you can take here. You can stay here. No need to move any further than this if this is enough sensation in the body. You can also plant that upper leg, that foot of the upper leg into the mat. Allow the knee to fall out towards the right as well to intensify the stretch. Maybe reach that left arm up and back behind you, placing it on the lower back, creating a little extra tension. Another option from here is also to straighten that bottom leg, reach it towards the bottom of the mat. You can also take that left hand, grab onto that foot, and pull it back for a quad stretch. If you're in that quad stretch, try to flex that bottom foot, point the toes towards you. Take 3 rounds of breath here. Inhale. If you took that quad stretch, exhale, slowly bring the knees to meet each other. Release the foot. Plant that left hand back into the mat and roll back onto the belly. Bring that right hand back beside you, palms facing up or down. Bring that left arm back behind you as well. Rest the right cheek on the mat. Pause. Switching sides. Start to extend the left arm out towards the side of the mat into that T position. Take that right hand underneath the chest. Squeeze elbow towards the rib cage. Inhale. Exhale, slowly start to press into that right hand. Roll over to the left. Curl the knees in towards the belly. From here, you can walk that left arm a little bit more out to the side. Maybe come up onto those fingertips to increase sensation if you wish. Once again, you have those options to plant that foot of the top leg into the mat. Allow that knee to fall over towards the left. Maybe that right arm reaches up and behind you. And from there, you have the option to take that quad stretch, straighten through that bottom leg, flex the foot, pick up the top leg, grab onto that foot with the hand that's behind you, and pull, kick that foot behind you as well. Breathing into the quad. 3 breaths here. Next, exhale, slowly start to release the knees towards each other. Release the grip. Slowly start to roll back onto your belly. Bring both arms back down beside you. Maybe rest the chin on the mat. You can pick up the legs, maybe windshield wipe them from side to side. Massaging the lower back. Release the legs down. Bring the hands underneath you. Tuck the toes underneath you. Lift the hips off the mat. Pull the lower belly in. Squeeze elbows towards the rib cage. Press the palms into the mat. Inhale to start to lift up through your tabletop. And just exhale, take it back to your child's pose for a round of breath. Inhale, come back to tabletop. Exhale, tuck your toes. Lift the knees. Bring the hips up and back. Revisiting down dog. Again, pressing through those base of the knuckles. Squeezing elbows in, biceps forward. Bend into the knees as much as you wish here. If you want a little bit of a deeper stretch in, you can walk the feet about the width of the mat, maybe slightly out to the side of the mat. Start to bring your weight more into that right hand. Really use that strength. Press through the knuckles and reach that left hand to grab onto the outside of the right shin. And stay here, or you can take an inhale. And exhale, use that grip to pull your chest so you rotate over towards the right hand side of the mat. And breathe here. Next, exhale, plant the left hand back into the mat. Maybe start to bring more weight into that left hand and then reach that right hand back, grabbing onto the outside of the left shin this time. Take an inhale. And then use your exhale to pull your chest over towards the left. Next, exhale, release that right arm, right hand back into the mat. Walk the feet back in. Taking one more inhale in your down dog. Exhale, drop back to the knees, tabletop. Inhale and exhale. Come back into your child's pose. Any variation that you wish to take here. Take 3 rounds of breath. Next inhale, slowly start to lift up, sending the hips all the way back, lifting the torso up. Take your hands on top of your thighs, close the eyes. Roll the shoulders all the way up to the ears. Exhale, roll them down and back. Pull the shoulder blades together, slightly puff the heart out. Reach through the crown of the head, find length through the spine. 3 rounds of breath here, taking a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Again, inhale, nose. Exhale, mouth. One more round, inhale. Exhale, deep release. Seal the lips. Take a deep inhale. Deep exhale. Inhale, sweep the arms up towards the ceiling. Bring the gaze up towards the fingertips, palm touch. Exhale, draw the hands down through heart center. Taking that again, inhale, sweep the arms up. Palms meet. Exhale, draw the hands down. Pause here at heart center for a round of breath in. A round of breath out. Drop the hips to the side. Swing the legs forward. Start to make your way onto your back. Maybe finding a block, a bolster, a blanket nearby, pillow. Bring it so you can grab onto it. Curl back into that nugget, bring the knees towards the belly. Wrap the arms around the shins, the knees, backs of the legs, whatever feels good for you. Rock side to side. Starting to come into an extended inversion. Legs up the wall, set the feet down into the mat. You can also go up against a wall and actually take the real version of this posture by keeping the legs up the wall, like the posture says. Or if you're not next to a wall, you can just extend the legs up towards the ceiling if that's comfortable for you. If you have a prop available, like a book, a block, pillows, you can press the hips up like you're in your bridge pose. Place the block, book, right underneath the lower back and set the hips down. Same thing as earlier, really try to slightly tuck the hips up so it brings the spine completely down into that block. And then from there, lift the legs up. You can flex the feet, you can just relax them, doesn't really matter here. It's helpful you can bring the hands to the backs of the legs, just to help support them up. It's too much sensation. Or you can bring the arms beside you, palms face up. One hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. Many variations here. You can also play with variations in the legs. You keep them extended up. You can also take them out towards the side for a more wide-legged stance to bring more into the inner thighs, the hips a bit. Staying here for 15 rounds of breath. Moving more into that stillness. That space for that mind becomes a little bit more active than usual as we sit with our thoughts when we're in those moments of stillness. Staying connected to how the body feels as we hold. How does sensation change in the body as we stay in this posture? You notice any temperature differences in the legs as the heart has to work a little bit harder to bring that warm, oxygenated blood up to the legs. It's not getting as much warmth as they usually would if they were planted. Because the heart does have to work a little harder. Are you able to feel your heartbeat? Can you hear it? Feel it thumping in the body, in the chest. Do you start to get that numbness feeling in the legs, that tingly sensation, like it's falling asleep? Feel the shoulders grounding into the mat underneath you. Feel that natural inclination of the fingertips to curl in towards the palms if they're spread outward. Five more rounds of breath here. Take one last inhale. Exhale, start to curl the knees in towards the belly. Notice how the legs feel when you made that movement. Does it feel a little strange? That, once again, that falling asleep feeling in the legs. Maybe you have to move the feet a couple of times just to wake them up. Bring new blood into that part of your body. So just set the feet back into the mats. If you have something underneath the lower spine, press the heels into the ground, lift the hips up. Take that block blanket book to the side and roll the knees, hit the back into the mat. Curl the knees back in towards the belly. Rock back. Side to side, front to back. That feels good. Give the chance to the lower back to have a break. Set the feet back down into the ground. And open the arms out towards the side into a T position. Pick up that left leg, extend it up towards the ceiling. Maybe flex the foot, point the toes towards you. Really reach the heel up towards the mat like you're trying to plant your foot against the ceiling. Take a round of breath in and out here. And on your next exhale, start to cross that knee, left knee above right knee, in eagle legs. Take an inhale. And exhale. Keep the legs just like this as you allow them to fall over towards the right hand side, coming into a twist. If it's more comfortable for the body, you can take a block, blanket, prop it underneath the knees for a little extra support. Bringing out the body here. One more on the breath. Slowly start to bring the knees back to center. Inhale to extend that right leg, left leg back up towards the ceiling. And exhale, set it back down. Inhale, then the right leg reaches up towards the ceiling. Flex the foot, press the heel up, toes point down. Take a round of breath here. Inhale. Then exhale, cross the right knee on top of left in the eagle legs formation. Inhale. And exhale, slowly allow the knees to fall over towards the left, coming back into that twist. Use anything to prop underneath the knees if you need a little bit extra support in the body here. 3 rounds of breath. Next inhale, slowly start to bring the knees back up. Reach that right leg back up towards the ceiling. And exhale, set it down. Curl everything back into center. Maybe start to come into happy baby. Draw the knees towards the outside of the rib cage. Flex the feet up towards the ceiling and into the knees about 90 degrees. You can reach the hands to grab onto the outside of the feet, or 2 fingers wrap around the big toes. Just use the hands to pull the knees closer in towards the torso. Get a deeper stretch in the hips. You can rock side to side if you want. Maybe playing around or straightening a leg at a time. Maybe both. Whenever you're ready, you can start to meet in corpse pose. Splaying out in all directions. Take up as much space as you possibly can. Reach the arms out beside you, palms face up or down. allow the feet to fall out towards the side, making star-like position, really splaying out. You can walk the shoulders a little bit more underneath you. Close the eyes. Preparing for Shavasana and relaxation. Moving into that complete mode of stillness. Once again, notice those points of your body against the mat, against the ground, where you find a little bit more heaviness in the body, where you find more ease in the body, more tension in the body. Release the breath, just allow it to flow in and out of you at its own rate. I encourage you to stay here as long as you possibly can. Staying in that state of noticing, observing. Not trying to pass any judgments about what happens here on your mat for however long you're there. The light within me honors and respects the light within each and every one of you out there. Namaste.